You're listening to the Oddities podcast.
All right. Welcome to the Oddities podcast, episode 13, I think. We're doing the drawing for the PlayStation 4 this Thursday at the Oddities Coffee Shop and Novelty Store. That's at 4182 Cordata Parkway. We're doing a different giveaway every month. There's no purchase necessary, so you can just come in, fill out the form, and enter the drawing. Also, we're doing our treasure hunt starting on Thursday. We got over $1,500 of goodies inside. We're going to be posting about that on Thursday on our IG, which is Oddities PNW, and every 48 hours we're releasing a new clue. So come in and check us out. My guest today, Branden. Thanks for coming in, doing this, man.
Yeah.
This guy right here, owner of the Ruthless Tattoo Company, or do you just say co?
Just say
Doesn't
co.
matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Gave us an awesome donation. $200 gift certificate for a tattoo, which we put in the treasure box, which is down below this table here, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Also hooked us up with a hoodie, t-shirt, hat, and another $75 gift certificate. And all those other extra goodies that you gave us, we're going to be like doing a giveaway, either in-store or on the podcast.
Yeah.
Kind of just spread it out and promo it. So you are up here in Bellingham now.
Yep.
How long have you owned your shop for?
We'll be going on a year in March,
Okay.
right? Yeah, I think it was March, about a year. Yeah.
Okay. And where are you guys located?
1417 Railroad.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put all this stuff up here on the YouTube so everyone can check it out. Now, what brought you to Bellingham?
I was down in the Vancouver, Portland area. Lived down there my whole life. Wanted to get clean and sober. I owned my own shop for about 6.5 years in Longview, and things were great. Married, wife, kids, all that fun stuff. Went through amazing divorce.
An amazing divorce. Must have been amazing.
Yeah, went through amazing divorce. Closed that all down. Tried to open another shop up again.
Did you guys
failed.
own the shop together?
Kind of. You know what I mean? It was my shop, but being married for 10 years,
Yeah.
it's our shop.
And
So,
this was your first shop.
yeah, and I had it for about 6.5 years.
And how old were you when you opened that first one?
27 or 8, 6 maybe, something like that.
And how did you work in a tattoo shop previously before you opening up?
Yeah, I was self-taught. Taught myself how to tattoo for about 6 months, and then I had a buddy hit me up that I knew that tattooed, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come work for me?" And I was like, as an apprentice, because in tattooing you have to have an apprenticeship, and I couldn't do that. So like, because I have kids to feed, you know what I mean? I was like, well, I can't work for free.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, your work's good, dude. I'll teach you how to shade and all that fun stuff. And went out there and worked for him for a couple months. Didn't work out. Like, it just wasn't working. So right away, I opened up my own shop, and it was in a little hair salon in the center of Washington.
Oh, wow.
And then that progressed to a little shop in Kelso, into a little bigger shop in Longview. And then I had a shop in Longview, Vancouver, and then sold those shops and opened a big shop up in Longview. And that's what I had with my wife for about 6 years or so.
And did you know that you wanted to be a tattoo artist? Like, at what point in your life you're like, you know what? I think I might try this out.
I don't know. Like, I've always been obsessed with tattoos and super into it, and just obsessed with the art of it. You know what I mean? And every time I get tattooed, I watch it and I'm like, man, how do they do that? Like, I can never do that. And then I've been always interested in doing it, wanted to try it. I felt like my art skill was kind of there, but it was just intriguing more so. And then one day, my mom's boyfriend at the time, he was like, "Hey, do you want to buy a tattoo kit?" And I had $100, or I had $80 to my name. He wanted $100 for it, and I was like, "Yeah, And he asked me about it, or I asked him about it, and he said that he'd take $80 for it. So I'm driving to my mom's house, and my wife at the time, she's like, "Hey, we can't buy this for $80." And I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "We have $80 to our name, and we have to pay PUD," because I was on a low income PUD thing. And so drove all the way out to my mom's house, and I was like, "Hey, I can't buy it," And they're playing with it on some fake skin, and I picked it up, and it was just like the most natural thing.
Fake skin?
Yeah, it's like
That's
this, like, it doesn't really work. It's like it's
okay.
like a piece of rubber. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, it's like a giant square rubber band, and it just felt so natural to me. Like, I welded for a lot of years, so that was like the next most natural thing, I would say. And my mom's like, "Well, do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of." And I didn't want to take her money, but she's like, "I'll buy it for you." So I bought it that night. I did 2 tattoos. The next, one on my wife and then one on my sister.
And those are the first ones you've ever done?
Yeah.
Wow. And they just let you just go at
Yeah,
it,
just went down at it, single needle.
And what was that like? The
Oh
first
my
time? Were you
gosh,
just like,
horrible, embarrassing, like, because like I know like the industry and I know like what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do, and so like doing it, I just felt so disrespectful, like disrespected to the industry. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, doing it out of a house, not with the proper sanitary stuff, or cavicide, maticide, anything like that. So I felt just way out of my element, not even being in the industry yet, but it was just so disrespectful. But then the next day I woke up, a couple more tattoos, and I was just studying YouTube. Like I just fell in love with it. You know what I mean? And I was so poor, living on welfare, had food stamps, couldn't even pay for my rent, paying in change half the time. And then I was like, people were like, "Hey, like, want to tattoo me? I'll give you $40." I'm like, "Sure." And did a little tattoo,
Damn.
and
So
then
did they tell you what they want, or were they coming to you with designs?
they would like tell me what they wanted, kind of, but vice versa. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like it wasn't really always like a specific piece. It was just something to draw this up, or it was wording or something so small. And then I would do that tattoo and collect that $40, and I'm like, shit, I have money.
Were you nervous going into it?
Very.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a huge like critic of myself no matter what I do, you know? So, but yeah. And so once I collected my first like $40 for a tattoo, I was like, I could make a living out of
And
this.
what year is this?
This was in 2011.
Okay.
So yeah.
So first tattoo gun, started tattooing on a few friends.
Yeah, we got to call it machine though.
Machine.
Yeah. They'll get mad.
And then so tattoo machine.
Yep.
And then and then how does it go from there? How does it evolve into
It just started out like I just fell in love with it. Like it was so fun. You know what I mean? Like when I was bored, like I'd practice on my wife at the time, and just constantly practice on her, practice on myself. They're literally, for the first year, I don't think I missed a day except for like Christmas and a few other days that I did not tattoo someone, whether it was myself or her or a client, just to constantly better myself. And I was using these cheap machines, like the most knockoff stuff ever. I didn't have a rubber garment in the needle we're supposed to have, so this needle just slapping around everywhere. I had no idea what I was doing, you know what I mean? And then I just made it literally my goal in life just to learn how to tattoo. And I studied it every single day, how to build a machine, how to tear apart a machine.
Oh, wow.
And this was like before like YouTube. Like now you can go on YouTube and look up tattooing and all stuff, and there's like these famous tattooers who are showing you what to do. When I was doing this, almost 9 years ago, it was like I'm like pushing pause on Jeff Gogaway's like videos just to try to see his like power supply and what he's running his stuff at, because it wasn't showing stuff back then as much as they are now. So it was a lot harder to learn, like self-taught.
And when you're doing it, was it like a passion where you're just doing it because you're passionate about it, or did you have an idea in your mind that you might turn this into a business and make money doing it someday? Like what was the thought process there? I've
always been like, I guess, a hustler to where money is like always. I grew up very poor, and so like I've always wanted to make sure my kids didn't grow up like that. So once I got money, it was money driven for a long time. And that was like my biggest downfall, I feel like, in my career, was I sought out money, and going to work for another shop. Excuse me, go to work for another shop. You do a split, 50-50 split, 40-60 split, 30-70, depending on where you're at in your skill level and what you can offer the shop. And I just never saw it feasible to give you 40% of my money as just business mindset at a younger age, And so I'm like, well, if I can work my way into this building, and I'm going to pay them $600 for this little teeny massage room in this hair salon, and and if I'm not going to pay the shop $800 a month, you know what I mean?
How old were you in 2011?
Shoot, I don't know. I can't do math off the top of my head.
8 years ago?
Yeah. 34. So.
You're 37, 26.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I think so. Sounds
All
good.
Right,
we'll go with it.
All right. Okay. So for about a year, kind of self-taught, teaching yourself how to do it, learning the ins and outs and all the mistakes you're making. Yeah, and it was a lot of struggle. And in this industry, if you don't do an apprenticeship, you're kind of a piece of shit. But did you feel good about the progress you're making? You could. I did, but I always looked at it and I wasn't happy. I was never happy. You weren't happy with what aspect? My work. Never was. You really? Yeah, because I always wanted more. I'm like, I look like my idols were like big time idols, and I'm like looking at their work like, man, how do they do that? I don't understand. I'm chewing up skin. My line work was always good, but the shading, I just could not get that concept down. Like their work was so phenomenal, and everybody else loved my work. You know what I mean? And then as time progresses, I mean, your clients build your head up, so you start to think you're something. But I always, and I still am, like self-conscious of my work. Like even though I look at something, I'll go back and be like, man, I should have done that different, or that line should have been this line weight or whatever, One common theme I've noticed just from interviewing people on this podcast and people I know in my personal life that are either business owners or business professionals is none of them are ever satisfied with anything they do. Yeah. Like it doesn't really give them a huge sense of internal satisfaction or completion. And even myself, it's just like, everything I have, the coffee shop that I have in this, Amazon business, I started it with just $300 and it turned into like this, multi-million-dollar company. But it was like, it doesn't feel like anything. Right. It doesn't feel like anything really. And I 100% understand. It's like once you're able to just, I drove just a shitty car for a long time that was always on the verge of breaking down that I couldn't afford to fix if it broke down. So I'm like, please just don't break right now. Because I needed to get to work. Yep. I mean, I was so poor that I would have friends. This is when I was like 30 or 31 because I'm 40 now. they would invite me out because they go out for, drinks and to go out to eat. And I literally was conserving gas because I didn't have money to drive.
Yeah.
And I literally tell them, oh, no, I can't because I'm busy.
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
reality is like I literally didn't have money to go even buy food or drinks or even put gas in my car, and I didn't want to say anything, and I'm not going to mooch off my friends and take me by, so I just stay home.
For sure.
But now once you get your basic needs met, where you can drive a reliable car, you can live in a decent house or wherever, and you can do the basic things that you enjoy doing, any more after that doesn't really give you any kind of a bump.
Right.
Coming from shitty car to reliable car, huge stress relief.
Yeah.
Shitty 1-bedroom apartment to like a house, huge relief. But then after that, it's just no more.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed that's a common theme with everyone who's like, quote, successful or like an entrepreneur is like, you just never feel, it doesn't feel like anything.
For sure. No, I totally relate that.
Yeah. So after that time of practicing for a year, how long was it before you opened up your first shop?
So after, I would say about 8 months into my career, actually, I left a friend of mine's shop down in Vancouver. It was actually in a hair salon. Left that shop.
How long were you there for?
About a couple months. But like our personalities just did not click. You know what I mean? Like I was having to charge $125 an hour, and I was not worth it.
Yeah.
So it was hard to get clients. You know what I mean? And I didn't have a license, so my wife was driving me about 35 miles down south, dropped me off. She was driving 35 miles back home, and then coming back. You know what I mean? Making these round trips every day, and I'm not bringing money in. It wasn't working. So, she was getting a haircut in the center, and this lady there, she's like, hey, I have a massage room, I'll rent it out to you. And I was like, let's do it. Let's go for it. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen? I mean, I'm not going anywhere right now. So, and I'm making money. When I was taking to my house, I was paying my rent. It was easy, and now I'm struggling. And so I said, let's do it. Packed up my stuff from his shop, thanked him for the opportunity, and went to that hair salon. And I was there for about, I want to say 6-7 months.
And was it Ruthless Tattoo?
No, it was Hooligans Tattoo.
Okay.
And which is not even relatable to the Hooligans that was here in Bellingham, weirdly enough. But yeah, I did that. And then...
So opening up your first shop, I'm sure you're super excited, pumped.
It didn't feel like it because it was a room, you know what I mean? I was excited, but it was just a room in a hair salon. And so like, I always like, I had bigger visions, and I had these bigger like dreams. And so like, I always felt like I was just like, not really doing anything, but just trying to get my way in. And so like that little room only lasted for a little bit, and I need something bigger. And so then I moved to, I lived in Kelso. So I found a shop in Kelso, and the rent was like $100 more than what I was paying for this room. And it was, 1,500 square foot shop. And I was like, this makes way more sense. It's in my town. It's a couple miles from my house.
1,500 square feet's a decent size, man. That's
very
good.
It was way too much. Yeah. So I ended up doing that, and it took me about 4 months. And I'm tattooing out of a little corner while this shop's under construction.
That was all yours.
I didn't get a loan or anything. I had no money. I was doing a tattoo, and I'd build out this much flooring, and I would do another $300 tattoo, and I'd build the rest of that flooring.
Oh wow!
$300, go load up my little Honda or Ford Focus, and load up the back with just a bunch of flooring for like the wood flooring. Go back, do a little more.
And did you finance like the down payment and getting the spot with
nothing.
Like from doing tattoos? How did you even get the spot?
I worked out a deal with a lady that I would give her $1,000 up front, and I got 2 months rent for free to work on the building, and then I paid $700 or $800 or something like that a month extra, and so I got a couple months to get on my feet, and so I was doing tattoos in the meantime, and getting that all up and going, and then once I got the tattoo side built out, I was like, there was still a whole half of a shop that was just useless.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, a lot of tattoo shops fail because we're all horrible with money. Like as tattoo artists, we suck with money.
Why is that?
I don't know. We just
the artistic side
I guess so. We
can't
just
manage the finances.
So we just in the slow season we don't. There's some that are responsible, obviously, but we just slow season comes and it's dead.
When's the slow season?
I would say October, November, December January-ish. Yeah, it gets really slow, which is like that's the best time to get tattooed, but nobody does it.
Now, when you were moved into this place, did you already have like somewhat of a following?
Yeah,
like you did.
I had a huge following at first. I don't even know how. It just like happened, and I think it was because I was cheap at tattooing. I was such a low price tattooer, and people like all this. My following were, I wouldn't say lower income, but they were like, could afford these tattoos.
So it was like word of mouth friends and family.
Yeah, and it just blew up.
And were you doing any kind of advertising anywhere?
Tons of advertising. It was only Facebook. Facebook was everyone's like, oh, do this, do that. I'm like, Facebook's free. And everybody's on
the
it.
organic reach was really
Yeah.
good back then too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was way different.
And how long did it take you to get the whole shop completely decked out?
I would say about 5, 6 months into that shop, I had the tattoo side done. And then I tried to figure out like, well, it's just me tattooing it. And I kept hiring a bunch of artists, but it never worked out. And there's a lot of, drugs in this industry. So I'm hiring people that are relapsing or having, problems with going to jail and whatnot. So I'm constantly hiring and firing and losing artists. And so my dad was like, hey, you worked in a hair salon before. Why don't you put a hair salon in here? And I was like, I don't know. And then, so we did, because the goal was, if I can have 4 booths of a hair salon, it would pay my rent.
Yeah.
And then tattooing is 100% profitable.
Yeah.
And so we did that. It took me another 2 months to build that out. And then I was there for about 8 months or so after that. And then I was just too small of an area. So I outgrew that spot real quick too.
What would you say was up to that point was the biggest challenge you faced, or an obstacle or thing that stressed you out the most? Or
I would say just finding decent artists who want to work. You know what I mean? This industry is very hard. We're all independent contractors. Nobody's employees. So you can't say, come to work at this hour. You have to work this hour. It's like finding the people who have the same, business mind base that want to come to work.
And what's your motivation? Like, why are you able to put in those long hours and take it serious? And
then it was my kids. And then I got way off the track, for selfish reasons. And then coming back up to Bellingham, I would say the big majority is for my kids as well again, but mostly it's like I actually enjoy tattooing now, and where I got burnt out on it for so long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now I actually love it.
What was the burnout due to?
Not doing stuff that I enjoy doing, just tattooing whatever came in the door, just reverting back to money. It was money, and it wasn't really about the art. I mean, there were some pieces that I loved tattooing and I had fun with it. Then it would come back to infinity symbols and black silhouette birds and stuff that it wasn't enjoyable for me, and it just paid my bills, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. I didn't put my heart wasn't in it, and it wasn't the best work, and so I just got burnt out. And then a lot of clients like, you try to put your art and spin on it, and they're like, no, I want this. And I'm like, well, that was already online. That was somebody else's tattoo. No, that's what I want. And it's like, it's not fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like, you doing your Amazon store, someone being like, well, you're only going to sell this. And that's all you got to sell.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I don't want to sell that. I want to sell my stuff. Nope.
So the shop that you had it for how long before the burnout kicked in? And
I would say, after that Kelso shop, I moved to downtown Longview, which was like my biggest jump in my career, I would say, because I moved down there, and it was downtown, great location. The walk-through traffic was amazing. I had a hair salon there, tattoo upstairs.
So same business type model,
Yep.
hair salon. And how big was this spot?
This one was about 2,000 square feet. And
And why did you? I didn't catch it. Why did you move out of the spot where you were just in? That was 1,500. Why did you then move to a new spot?
so first of all, it was like we weren't really doing very well there because like we were off the beaten path. And it was like our building looked like a residential like duplex almost, and it was downtown Kelso, which was nothing. But it was on a main. If you were like think about it from like a business standpoint, it's on the main bus route. The mall's across the way. Like you would think it'd be a killer spot.
Yeah.
But being in the spot, it was just garbage. We had to do a lot of promoting, a lot of specials, this that, just to get people to find us. And then being downtown Longview was just, you didn't have to put a sign up, and people were walking
Just
down
there.
there willing
Yeah.
to spend money.
Yeah, we're kind of going through that now, where we have our shop because we're right next to the Department of Licensing, which is great, and then we're right next to the furniture store. But there's no real organic foot traffic other than that. It doesn't have great visibility from the street, and so it's just one of those locations where I looked for almost a year trying to find a spot. I tried to get a spot in Fairhaven, bid on it, didn't get it because there was other tenants fighting for it. And after about a year, when I saw that they were building dorms up here, I was like, okay, I'll take that spot because I know those dorms might help out with traffic.
For sure.
But also, like, we sell on Amazon through the store as well. So we do very well online. But I never would have opened the store if I didn't have the online element.
Relied on foot traffic.
But we do the exact same thing you did, where we are running constant specials, daily, weekly, like that monthly giveaway for the PlayStation 4. We're constantly doing paid ads on Instagram. We're doing newspaper ads, Valpak, like every single thing we can to try to increase traffic. And we've had some success with it, but it's tough.
Very.
Like location, as anyone who's ever heard even a tiny little bit about real estate or opening up a business, like location. But the weird thing is like when you go to open a business, all those great locations are taken.
Yeah.
Like there's, so you want to move in there, but like when you go to your realtor and like, okay, I want to open up a store, find me a spot, and there's nothing.
Right.
then you either take what's available, which is off the beaten path, or you just don't open your business.
Yep.
Like there's no other way around
Yeah.
it. So you sounds like you got lucky though. You found a good spot, huh?
Yeah, found a good spot. I mean, the place was just crap inside.
Uh-huh.
It was like an underage dance club before I got it, and so it was
Okay.
like black walls, red walls, carpet flooring.
Mhm.
I had to do a ton of build out on that to get to where I wanted. Invested a bunch of money in my own, and I did that kind of the same way. You know, what I mean, I got 3 months free rent on that building too.
Nice.
And so
Is
while
this something you negotiate at
yeah,
the start?
yeah.
So talk to me about that real quick. I'm curious. So, how did you even find out? Did you have a real estate agent? How did you find
No.
the spot?
So I was driving down Longview and I was looking for a spot and I was like, and this always happens. This has happened up until this last shop every time.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start looking for a new place, or I'm gonna start doing this, and then I start like researching or going on Craigslist looking for places, and I find it, and then I find it way sooner than I ever intended on finding it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, in 6 months from now, I'm gonna change my shop, and then I look on there and boom, a month away, and I'm
Sure.
like, oh, there's the spot.
Uh-huh.
It's meant to be. And so I found that. I met the broker or whatever, the real estate guy, and he, what is his name? I can't think of his name, but he's a super cool guy,
Mhm.
and he helped me get in the door with it. And
So up front, they're asking, this much money,
yeah,
but you negotiate like, hey, if I can get in, you give me 3 months free. I'll pay for like the renovations.
yeah, and that's the
Basically.
biggest thing, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Is like, and back then I didn't have any buildings to show like what I've done.
Mhm.
Like this is what I design and what I do. You know what I mean? And so it's like just kind of going off credit, which I didn't have, and going for rental history. So I'm trying to so I'm paying first, last deposit. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, well, here's the deal. I'm going to put 20 grand into your building and update everything. I want X
Yeah.
amount of months for free, and they'll either they negotiate back or whatever. But
And do you do the work yourself, or do you hire contractors?
I do a lot of myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I get help from friends and family and stuff like that here and there, but
Mhm.
design wise, it's 100% my
Nice.
design, and that's like my biggest passion is design, interior
Oh, wow.
design. Like if I could quit tattooing and just do one thing, it'd be interior design. Like I love
that's
it.
cool.
It's like super fun to me.
So you set up so this place is, you said downstairs was the hair salon.
Yep.
Upstairs was your tattoo shop.
Yep.
And you got that up and running. And how did that go this time?
That was good. I
Uh-huh.
ran into the same problems with artists. You know what I mean? Finding the good artists. It was a nightmare. Also being me, a self-taught artist, I wasn't like big in the industry. It took me having to go to conventions and like winning some awards. I won like first place in traditional, second or third place in traditional. And then I won a different convention. I won second place in small color. So once I started winning
Nice.
awards, other artists were like, "Oh, this guy's not bad. Like,
Uh-huh.
he knows his stuff." And then I started getting people like coming to me. But it took a while to actually get artists to come to you that want to work for you. You know
Let
what
me
I
ask you
mean?
a question. And I'm not sure. Like, since you were self-taught, did you ever work with somebody who maybe studied under somebody else and they saw that you were doing something totally different than what they had taught? Or, you know what I mean? Is there like technique
Yeah.
is such a big thing? And then, you know what I mean?
So before I tattooed, I built like motorcycles and stuff like that, and that was like a little side job because I did scaffolding. I tried to do that to get that business up and going, and I hung out at this tattoo shop in Vancouver all the time, and I was always getting tattooed there. Always hanging out there. Became friends with the owners and stuff like that. And then they were like, my buddy was like, "Oh, set up for me, and I'll tattoo." And I was like, "I don't know how to set up," and so he showed me,
Mhm.
and then he'd tell me how to tear down with clean hand, dirty hand. At the time, I had zero intention on tattooing. You know what I mean? And to this day, I still use that same setup and tear down.
Oh, nice.
And a lot of my other artists that work for me, they've converted to that same setup and tear down because it's a super good.
What separates a good artist from a bad one or a mediocre one, you say?
I would say arrogance, the will to learn. You know what I mean? That's
It's one of those things where you have to constantly practice your craft. Is that?
practice
Yeah.
and want to be better. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for almost 9 years, and me and my buddy Brian at the shop, like we're constantly pushing each other to be better. You know what I mean? And Madeline, she's been tattooing for I think 2 years, and she's an amazing artist. You know what I mean? And we ask her all the time for her opinion, and
Mhm.
we've been doing it for 7 years longer than her.
Yeah, Sammy, who was on the podcast this last episode, goes down there.
Yeah, she got
Sees
tattooed
Madeline,
there.
she shouted her out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and so that's the thing is like you got to be willing to learn. If you have nothing to learn, I mean, you might as well just quit because there's always more. You know what I mean? And the way the industry is going, people are taking it to such extreme levels that it just blows our mind. You know what I mean? Like, even looking at other artists, like I still feel like I'm down here because there's such amazing artists that I don't even know how they do it. I'm
Who
like,
are some of your favorites, or some of the people you?
there's so many. I mean, Jeff Gogway is one of my all-time favorite tattoo artists. There's a ton that are just out there. I can't even off the head.
So let me ask you, like in this new shop, you mentioned in the last one you kind of got burnt out. What did you start to get burned out on this new one? Like, what was different? What was I mean, I know you told your reasons why, but like, was it different this time, or how did you just refuse people? Like, what was it that kept you passionate still?
I guess like I didn't want to go back to scaffolding really,
Mhm.
so it just kept me pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to figure out better people. Jeff Holmes, who owns Kalamaka up here, weirdly enough, was down in Longview and he was looking for an apprenticeship. Came by and so I gave him a shot as an apprentice, and he was my apprentice for a year or so, and things were decent then. Everything was going good. Shop was running smooth, and then I had one of my artists relapse on me. You know what I mean? And then a couple other artists started relapsing, and I was like, "Shit, we're back to square one again." You know what I mean? And
What is it? What do you think it is that goes hand in hand with being a
I don't
tattoo
know. Like
artist?
people call us like rock stars and like the rock star
It's like
lifestyle
it's like
and
the
shit.
artist thing, right? The
I
artist
don't
always
know.
get into
Yeah,
the drugs and the booze
it
and
is.
the partying lifestyle.
And I was never a part of that scene. Like I didn't even drink really. I was never a part of that. Like I held myself to such a higher standard, and so I couldn't understand it. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's just like that free spirit doesn't, I don't know, wants to have fun, needs that stimulation maybe.
Yeah. I found out years down the road when I got into it, but for years I was not even about it. I'm like, I had a family and kids, so I couldn't go out and party, couldn't go out and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of these people don't have kids and stuff, so
There's a time and place for it. I mean, I remember when I was younger and I did all that stupid shit, and then you get older and it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So this new shop that you were in down
Yep.
there, how did that go? How long were you there? And
I was there for about a year and a half
Uh-huh.
or so, and things were going good. I had some other artists, a good artist, hit me up, want to come work for me. And so I'm like, sweet, my shop's starting to grow. And I got a couple really good artists in town that left where they were at to come work for me. And then I had another guy in that town was like, hey, like, I'm moving to Vancouver. Would you want to open the shop up with me? And I was like, I don't want to do a business partner, but I'll open the shop up and you can come work for me. So I funded the shop, built the shop in Vancouver. When all came down to it.
So now you have two shops going.
Two shops,
okay.
Yep. Vancouver shop.
And was the same idea, salon and tattoo place?
No, this was just tattoo,
okay.
yeah. And then
Can I ask you why you didn't make it a salon also? Was it just a smaller space? Or because it seems like that model works out where the hairstylists basically pay your rent.
It was good. It's just like, as not a hairstylist myself, like I couldn't really critique any of the hairs, what's going on, and like and at the end of the day it falls back on my name. And so everything was good. It was just like, it was something I kind of want to get away from. I felt like I had the clientele where I didn't need that backup anymore. I didn't need the financials, you know, what do you want to say? Like,
it was good in the beginning to help you get started.
Yeah, and I just didn't need it,
yeah.
you know. So I was like, I kind of want to steer away from it. And I already had the hair salon still, and this shop was so small, and I just didn't want to deal with it all over again. Trying to find the people, and you know, it's like nobody wants to work for a hairstylist really, or a hair salon that's not a hairstylist.
Yeah.
And luckily, I just found some people in Longview that I knew, and it just worked out. But other than that, like, I didn't want to deal with it all over again. Like, it was too much.
So this new shop in Vancouver. So you and your buddy, that you basically fronted, you paid for everything. You got it all set up and going.
Yep.
And how did things go with you guys working together?
Things were like all right. Like I felt, whether he mentioned or not, I kind of felt played out. Like, you know, there was not the clientele that was there. I had a guy actually move up from California to come work for me, and
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he came up here, moved up there.
Is this a buddy of yours?
No, he just found me. He was looking up one of the top rated shops in the area, and was like, you know, hey, you know, I like your vibe, I like your style. And he drove up once and met with me. Super cool dude. Everything was going great. And then just the Vancouver shop was not thriving. The Longview shop was literally paying for the Vancouver shop.
Oh, wow.
And we just were not doing what I wanted. And I'm like,
was it location or what was the
definitely
thing?
Location.
Yeah.
Location was crap. And the same thing. I was in between St. John's and St. James down in Vancouver. There are one-way streets, 2 lanes wide. I mean, there's probably over 1,000 cars that pass through there a day. And you think it'd be a killer spot, but no, it was horrible. Because the problem is, like, when places like that, people are looking at their phones. They're a one-track mind to go somewhere. They're not looking like, oh, like, what's over here, what's over there. They're literally just going to doctor's appointment, going home, going to work. Like, they have no means to like just look around and see what's up. You know what I mean? So it was totally a bad location.
And how long did you have this location for?
I had that one for about 7 months, 8 months maybe, and then I sold it.
Okay.
I put it up for sale. I had another artist out in Portland offered to buy it. I sold to him. I forget how much.
Is it still there?
Nope.
No.
Nope. He was not happy. I was up front. I was like, yeah, the walk-ins aren't great, but if you can promote it, like, he had a great shop in Portland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, if you can promote it, he's like, yeah, I know the game. I know the drill. I've been in it for 13 plus years, whatever. I know. And I think he lasted like a year you know.
And so, how many
And
years are you in at this point?
I would say 3-4 years
Okay.
ish or so we're in.
So back to just the one shop now.
So I sell that shop,
Uh-huh.
and then I sell my hair salon.
Oh, you sold that one too.
Yeah, but I had the tattoo shop in there.
Okay.
So I sold the hair salon, but I found right across from the Long Beach shop was this beautiful floor to ceiling window, 2-story, 2,500 square foot shop.
Wow, it's huge.
Gorgeous. The windows all opened up, all warehouse style up
Wow.
top.
Uh-huh.
And it was a rundown government owned building. And above it was all veterans.
Mhm.
And so Chris was the broker I was talking about. That's the guy. So he's the one that helped me get all these buildings. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, this building's for lease. Do you know anything about it? And he's like, hey, I just closed a $1.7 million deal for these people. Do not write them. I will deal with it. And
Okay.
he's like, they don't want a tattoo shop in there.
Uh-huh.
So he showed him pictures of my other shops. They're like, oh, it's beautiful. And he's like, yeah, he's willing to invest all this in here. Again, he wants a couple months free.
So
and
it seems like that's a good approach. Kind of
Yeah.
like buying a house as a rental. You buy like the shittiest house in the nice neighborhood and then fix it up. And
yeah, well, I grew up that. I know my dad. He owns like 14 houses or something like that.
Yeah.
So I grew up as a kid.
all over Portland, huh?
Vancouver, Longview,
Uh-huh.
the Long Beach
Okay.
here in Washington. And so I grew up watching him buy these crappy houses that are foreclosed on, condemned by the city, and he goes in there and redoes foundation.
And did you help him like remodel that? How you got?
Yeah, I had
skill
to.
set?
I'd be like, "Dad, borrow $40." He'd be like, "Nope, come work for 4
Uh-huh.
hours." I'm like, "I don't want to."
Okay.
But so yeah, weekends when I'd pick me up on the weekends, and I'm stuck working with them, which I hated at the time. But I got the good foundation of carpentry from him. So
What was the hardest part you'd say so far of being a business owner in general? Because at this point you got some good experience, been in it for a handful of years. Were you surprised at how much work it is?
I would say the hardest part is finding that balance of being a boss and a friend. That's probably the hardest part, because either you're a boss and nobody likes you, or you're a friend and everybody runs over you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's probably one of my biggest struggles, I'd have to say, is, and like I'm a super caring person, so like if the shop's slow, like I want to boost it. You know what I mean? And some people just don't care. I won't say I have that at this shop here. I'm super happy, but like previous people are just like, it's just slow. I'm like, no, it's not just slow. Like, let's move. Like, let's get stuff going. You know what I mean? And so it's the ambition and stuff like that. And so making people want to work is super hard. You know what I mean? Like with this industry.
Yeah. And dealing with the people part, I would say that is one of the hardest things of being a business owner. So I have like, I think 10 people that work for me overseas. And then I don't even know, 5 maybe here in the States, like here and then at the shop. And you'll get personalities that conflict, and
Right.
they'll message me or say something like, hey, so and so is doing this or doing that and isn't cooperating,
Right.
and this is from my manager and she's telling me this, and then I'm just like, all right, I have to go now confront this person.
Yeah.
But you have to do it in a way where they don't feel like they're being attacked, because
Yeah.
then they're going to go defense on you.
Correct.
You have to kind of come at it as, hey, we really need this to get done at a certain time, otherwise it causes so and so myself like a lot of stress, and you have to kind of explain
Right.
the situation rather than like, we told you to turn it in at 5, you're not turning it in. She's getting frustrated, like, we need it to be in there, like, but if you just come at and like, hey, can you do me, basically just talk about how you feel about the situation. Be like, I'm just upset, or I'm stressed, or I'm overwhelmed, or I need this.
Yeah.
Otherwise this happens. I find like explaining
Right.
the whole reasons of why, rather than just coming at them of like, I'm the boss, do this now.
No, exactly.
It's like,
It's finding that balance, you know what I mean? To where they respect you and they still,
tough.
it's-
You're basically become a counselor in a way, because I went to
Agreed.
school for counseling. I got my degree, but like managing all the personalities, because everyone has a different personality,
Yeah.
and everyone's motivated by something different. Somebody wants money, somebody just wants work-life balance,
Yeah.
somebody wants to just feel passionate about the job they're doing or where they're working.
Yeah.
And then when you have all these conflicting, some people are introverted, some extroverted, some higher energy, some low. I mean, it's just like, so you're just like constantly trying to play this game.
Yeah.
And then you also have to keep people kind of motivated. You have to like let them know what your vision is or what you're trying to do to
Right.
keep them going, and lead by example and all that. So
I agree totally. And that's the biggest thing is like with the crew that I have now, it's like we all push each other.
how many people do you have working for you now?
I have 2 artists and 1 apprentice.
Okay. So Ruthless Tattoo, which is here in Bellingham.
Yep.
The shop that you had down there, was that the last one? And then when you got divorced,
No, so
was that one? Or
I had that shop up, and so I moved. I sold the Vancouver shop and the Long Beach shop. We moved everybody across the street, and the shop was gorgeous. I put the most money I've ever put into a shop in there. It was, I mean, we were killing it. We were probably the largest shop within probably almost 100-mile radius. We had, I think, almost 11 artists working for us.
Wow. Dude, that's sick.
And it was the best, worst experience ever. I mean, there's so much drama, you know what I mean, with everything. People were complaining about this. And I got to the point to where, like, my biggest downfall with that was you get to a point where, you know, I'm like 6 years in or so at this point. And you get to the point to where it's like, you want to do what you want to do now. You know, I spent 6 years almost every day building businesses and trying to do this. And I get to an area where I'm like, cool, now this place runs itself. And then you find that, you know, other employees and stuff like that start to get jealous. You know, you're going to Hawaii, you're going to Vegas. I'm buying Mercedes. I have a brand new FJ. I got a brand new crotch rocket, brand new 3,000 square foot house. And they're just like, what the hell? Like, I'm giving this guy all my money. Yeah. And all of us are entrepreneurs in our heads too. Like, why am I giving this guy 40% of my money? And this guy's buying all this shit. You know what I mean? And that was my biggest downfall, was just blowing this money because it was coming in so rapidly. Like, I couldn't spend it fast enough. And then slowly after that, I got a divorce. And then as me and her were like on and off, the shop was slowly failing. People were stealing from me. My drops, I go look at it and it's like, you know, instead of being a $100 drop, I'm getting a $30 drop. And it's like, oh, like this is going on, or, you know, I owe that client some time. And so I had a shop meeting on a Friday. I was like, here's the deal. We're having cameras in here, because I was very trusting. So I'm like, we're gonna have cameras. I don't care who's sitting in your seat. Like, I'm not gonna get screwed over on this. I got a text Sunday saying that, well, the captain's not on board. You know, I'm quitting, and the next one quit, and the next one quit. Oh, and I had like 4 or 5 people just quit right away. I came into my shop Monday, and like I had like their stations were just stripped out, and I was like, oh sweet. Like, I felt downplayed, and it was all blamed on me. You know what I mean? And I'll take partial blame that I wasn't there, didn't manage it well enough maybe. But at that point, I was like, do I keep this afloat? I'm already going through a divorce. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
And were you elected to a lease at all? Or?
I was.
Yeah.
And look, they were so cool about it. Like, so it was a government-owned building, and the people were super cool. And I wrote them. I was like, hey, this isn't working out. I got a lot of shit going on in my life, and it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? So walked away from that, left everything.
So that was your shop, and how were you feeling at that point? Was this like a super low point in your life, or did you feel relieved in a way?
In a sense, I was relieved. I don't have to deal with this anymore. I don't have to deal with people texting, hey, I can't be in today, or hey, I need this day off, or hey, I have, you know, a bad mental day, I need a break, or whatever. It was always something with somebody. And so it's like literally babysitting all these people, and I was like, it's just too much. I mean, when you work with people, their problems are becoming your problems. You know what I mean? It's a lot of, you know, wear and tear on you personally. And so when I made that decision, I was like, relief, but super sad that everything I worked for is gone. You know what I mean? And I couldn't take anything out of that shop, because then I would assume they'd come after me. You know what I mean? So I left, I had like $1,200 in these big wooden fans in there. Oh, I had this metal handrail that I welded up, put together. I mean, all the hardwood floors. I left everything like spotless.
When you say they would come after you, mean the old employees?
No, the property management. Oh, you know what I mean? So like if I ripped everything out, if I ripped everything out, they're going to be irritated about it. So if I left everything there, it'd be easy for them to rent out. I mean, I did a 180 on that building. So luckily, I was like, I'm just going to lose it. Like, it is what it is. To me, I have the business mindset, and I can build it back up. I have my hands, I can do it again. And so that was my mindset. And I went to work for another shop, and it was nice. And, but at the end of the day, I was just like,
you were having to give away 40% of your money in this new shop.
Yeah. And it's not bad, because I didn't have to pay for insurance. I didn't have to pay for phones. I didn't have to, buy supplies. And it was nice. I was like, I come to work, I tattoo, I go home, and I get to be that pain in the ass now.
It's such a different mindset between being an employee and an employer. Because as a boss, it's like, the amount of paperwork I have to do and taxes and filings. It's like, it's so insane.
And
like how much, and then it's just like, I wake up early, I work late, and it's just every day. And then it's nice when you're an employee, you just clock off and go home. You don't worry about
so that was a nice change of pace, definitely. And I switched shops a couple times, and it was nice. Like, the biggest thing is I didn't work in a lot of shops, so I didn't see what they supplied, how the shops are ran. So I got to look at it from like an employee standpoint of how different shops are ran. And so it was nice. And then after about a year and a half of working for other people, I was like, I'm going to open up my own shop again. Found the location, downtown Vancouver, beautiful spot. This is the place. I was on and off drugs at the time, drinking heavily.
And why'd you get into that phase of your life?
Divorce.
You just fuck it.
Never, literally, I never had that 21 lifestyle, because I had, my ex-wife had a kid when we got together. So I was 22. before that I was in a long-term relationship, so never got the party scene.
Mhm.
And then so once we got divorced, I was like, yeah, let's fucking do this. And
Mhm.
then drank a lot, and then Coke was like candy down there, so it was just everywhere. And so got into that, and it wasn't like, instant addiction. It was a weekend addiction, and then from a weekend addiction, it went to a Taco Tuesday in the weekends, and then it was Wing Wednesday and Taco Tuesday in the weekends, and then Taco Thursday, Taco Tuesday, Wing Wednesday. I mean, we found an excuse every day just to do it.
Yeah.
And I got the shop up and going. I got a loan from my little brother, $10,000, and it was gonna be a coffee shop and a tattoo shop.
Oh, nice. That's
And
dope.
yeah, because everybody comes in with coffees.
Yeah.
And you can't bring outside food or drink into a cafe or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, they'd be forced to buy our coffee
That's
and all that
dope.
stuff.
Yeah.
And it would be the same style as my shop, super cool. And that was my goal. Got in there, and I was just so strong out on drugs that I could not focus. Like it took me, I think 4 or 5 months just to even get a part of the tattoo section opened up.
Damn.
And my biggest flaw was like,
How are you financing your habit at this time?
selling drugs to buy drugs. Yeah, selling drugs to buy drugs. I wasn't tattooing. And so I had got this loan from my brother, building this place out, and I'm in a bind now. Like I have to pay my rent, and I have an addiction, and so what do I do? And so I came up with this brilliant idea that I'll sell gift certificates for half off. And I was like, that'll get some money to go in. I only need, a few $1,000s. If I can just sell these little gift certificates, I can get this all back. And so I put it out on Facebook and it said something like, in order to keep my shop afloat, I'm going to offer these deals. And I probably, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000 gift certificates. Started finishing the shop out. I got the whole tattoo side done. I had hired another artist at this time, and still struggling with addiction, trying to get clean, get off it, get back and forth. And just with what I was doing down there, it wasn't really possible for me. You know what I mean? So I do all that, get it going, and it just starts a trickle effect. Like I'm working for a month, no money, because the people are using these gift certificates. You know what I mean? And then I get this one client who was like, I had to cancel on her, and she was like, "I want my money back." And I'm like, "Well, it's non-refundable." And she's like, "If I don't get my money back by the end of this weekend, I'm blowing you up on Facebook." And I was like, "Well, have at it, whatever." Well, the biggest thing was I wasn't licensed down there, and so I couldn't pay for my licensing, which in the state of Washington is a joke for licensing. You pay $250 and you're a tattoo artist. Anybody can pay $250 and be a tattoo artist.
And how long is that good for?
A year. And so there's no people are like, we'll get back to that.
So I could be a tattoo
literally for $250. It's a joke. So
nice.
It's just Washington's way of getting their money. There's no testing. There's nothing.
That's such bullshit.
It is.
They have all these bullshit licenses for everything just to get a little piece.
Right.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And so this girl comes up and she like blows this thing up on Facebook, and then somebody else is like, "Yeah, he owes me money too." And this other person's like, "Well, he owes me money, and he owes me money, or not money, but owes me this time for this stuff." And it like blew up in my face so big within 24 hours that it was just I couldn't even do anything about it.
Oh, damn.
I was like, I woke up literally at like 11 o'clock at night. I look at my phone. I have all these messages being tagged in that, Branden fucked me over. He did this. He took this money from me. He did that. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like, how do I come back from this? What do I do? And then they're like, we're getting the fire marshal involved. He doesn't have a license. And like, I've had my license for 4 years or 5 years out of the whole entire time in tattooing. There was like a 2-year thing that I went strike on because I was pissed off with him. But I've always had my license. This time I couldn't afford it. So I was like waiting to get a paid tattoo so I can pay for it. And they're like, we're getting the fire marshal involved. And then the next day the news is like contacting me. Like, hey, we heard you're scamming people selling gift certificates. I'm like, there's no scam. You know what I mean? So the next day I'm like, fuck it, I'm pulling out. Like, I don't know what to do at this point. And this was called Ruthless Tattoo down there too. So I literally went down there, I pulled my shit out of that shop, and I walked away from the lease, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm quitting. Like, I'm just over it. And there were so many different depressed stages you go through. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I literally, besides being strung out on drugs, like, I tried my hardest to like get this up and going. And I just felt like such a failure. I feel like I let my kids down, I let my family down, my little brother down and gave money. I let everybody down. And I was just like the biggest like slap in the face, you know what I mean, to myself that I did that. And so I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I was like, I don't know, like, just maybe I should just move and get away from the drugs. Like, what's the problem here? The problem is I'm strung out on fucking coke and drinking every single day.
And it's probably all your friends are probably doing the same, right?
Exactly. So, we could call them friends, I guess. You know what I mean? They don't. those are just like drug friends. You know what I mean? Like to this day, it's like nobody, even back up to where I am, nobody reaches back out. It's when I was at the bottom, no one's like, oh, he was a good guy. Like he wasn't screwing nobody over, because it really wasn't. Like who invests $20,000-$30,000 into a business to screw somebody over on $5,000 in gift certificates?
Yeah, right.
That's a horrible scam plot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like I had a business, I had a place, like, and so there was over 600 shares on Facebook.
Oh,
So I came up
damn.
here to tattoo with Jeff at Kalamaka just to guest spot and get away for a bit and to clear my head and just figure this shit out. I had death threats. I had military people saying that, wait till I get out of the military, I'm gonna come find you. I mean, it was just off the wall shit. And I was just like, I mean, there was suicide contemplations. Like I didn't know what the hell to do. I'm like, maybe if I just disappear, this will all go away. What do I do?
What year was this?
This was 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so I'm like, I just didn't know really what to do, where to go. And I was like, came up here and started tattooing. And I kind of fell back in love with tattooing. I was up here for about a month.
Had you ever been to Bellingham before, or?
Yeah, I came up here and guest spotted 2 times at Kalamaka for Friday the 13th events with Jeff. And then I just wanted to get away. So I literally had $20 to my name. And my mom, she didn't have very much money either, so she gave me $20. So I had $40, got in my car, and loaded my 2 kids
and you two
up.
came up together?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
me and her loaded the kids up, drove up here. I had no money, nowhere to stay, and I had my kids with me, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. So I came up here, and I told Jeff, I'm like, hey, let's put out a special, like $100 for a rose. So we put it out there. I think I did like one big tattoo. I got like a couple $100, and I went and got a hotel and got some food that night. Loaded.
That's such a dope skill set, though.
To
be able to just be like,
yeah.
dude, super cheap tattoo, just to get some quick cash. Like, what other, I don't know any other business you can really do that in, off the top of my head.
Well, it's kind of hard because you can't step on toes in this industry. If I start undercutting everybody else, I'll have zero respect from any of the artists. You know what I mean? And so that's the biggest thing, is like staying in the same guidelines of prices with people. So I come up here, load my stuff up, get the hotel, go to sleep, wake up, pack all my shit back up, all my kids back. I feel like the worst father in the world. You know what I mean? My kids are just so positive, and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then go back to work, and luckily I do 2 tattoos, and I go pay for like 3 nights at a hotel.
Oh, nice.
And I literally did that for about a month, in and out of hotels, back and forth, coming back down to Vancouver, guest spotting at a shop in Vancouver to get some more money. And then I asked Jeff if I could be full time up there, and he's like, yeah, let's do this. Worked there full time, started managing the shop. Things were doing great there. And as time goes on, I'm just like, man, like Jeff, we should open up a shop together. You know what I mean? That was the plan and the goal. And I actually had people hit me up. They're like, hey, I see you're doing good now. Like, could you want to tattoo me? I'm like, yeah. And I paid for their gas to come up here. I help people out, and I'm like, I want to make shit right. You know what I mean? And so I did that, got a lot of that shit taken care of. And there's still people out there that are still, badgering the name and all that stuff I still have to deal with. But all I'm doing is just like trying to do what's right, do the right thing, and keep it going. You know what I mean? And when people hit me up, I take care of all that.
So you guys opened up the shop together. So, right? The Ruthless Tattoo or is that the one you're talking about?
No, yeah, that was my shop.
I know, but didn't you just say you opened up a shop with... So the shop that you just opened up here in Bellingham is strictly yours?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
no, Madeline's co-owner of the shop. She invested into it too, so she owns a part of the shop too.
Okay.
But Kalamaka was Jeff's shop, and I managed that shop with him.
Okay.
And because I mentored him for about a year, and so I was like, hey, like I could help you with the shop, and there's a lot of stuff that we turned around and made that shop super cool. It was a gorgeous shop already, so got that all up and going. And then I was like, hey, like we should open up another shop. And I was like, the business part of me is just like striving to do something.
Spinning, yeah.
I'm like, man, like, his shop was cool and beautiful for what he had. He had like, little toys and stuff, like the collectibles and stuff like that, comic stuff. And like it was his style and super cool, but it was not me. And I'm like, I need my place. Like if you walk into that shop, it'd be the comics and the cool like little toys and stuff, and you walk right back to my room, and then it's like pallet ceiling, taxidermies on the wall. It's like a different shop inside of a shop. And so I was down, like I said, it was like January of last year. I was like trying to look, and I'm like, I'm gonna start just looking around. And we come down to the record store, and we're looking at the records. And we park on Railroad Avenue, and I look across, and there's Railroad Tattoo, and it says for rent. And I was like, no shit. And so I look in there, I'm like, there's no way this tattoo shop's for rent. And so I email him, and Hans, who owns Casa Que Pasa, replies, and he's like, yeah, it's for rent. Gorgeous is moving out, and he's done. He wants to rent the place out and take over the lease.
His name's Gorgeous?
No, it's James, but he goes by Gorgeous.
Oh, I was like, that's great.
Sorry. Yeah. And so I was like, well, shit, let's do this. You know what I mean? And negotiated some some months with him that I paid half. I got 1 month free and like half for a couple more months. And
And how did you and Madeline meet? Is she like?
she used to work at Kalamaka too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so you hit her up. You're like, hey, do you want to?
No, we actually had talked. Like there's a lot of little things at the shop that she wasn't happy with. Like we have like a different like energy where we like, sage and more of like that Zen type of atmosphere. And Kalamaka was more of like a Christian based atmosphere. And like we had two different ideas. And she wasn't really too pumped there. And she was looking for the jobs at other shops. And I'm like, hey, me and Jeff are gonna open another shop together, and I'll run that shop. So just stick it out with me. And she's like, okay. And months pass, and she's like, are you still going to look for a shop? I'm like, yes, I promise. And Brian, he used to work there years before that, and he went through some personal stuff too. And then when I went back to him, I'm like, hey, where's Brian Hanukkah? Where's he at? And Jeff's like, no, not happening. And I was like, why? And he's like, he burnt me. Well, then after some time, he's like, guess who has 14 months clean? And I was like, who? He's like, Brian Hanukkah. I was like, well, shit, bring him in. So I got Brian to come in, and I told Brian, hey, I'm opening up this new shop with Jeff. It's going to be downtown. Let's do this. And Jeff's like, Brian's like, yeah, I'm about it. If it's going to be like your room in here, like, let's do this. So we get it, sign the lease. Me and Jeff are going to be co-owners. Madeline invested a little bit of money into it so she had a part of it too.
And this is the first time you've taken on a co-owner?
In a sense, I've done it in the past before, but it never worked out. Like people would like in the very beginning, I had a friend who was like, oh, let's do this together. And then once we got into it, like it never worked out. Like, their ambition for work wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like I wake up 7 a.m, go down to the shop, build it out. They wouldn't show up. You know what I mean? Or they're hungover or whatever. And it never worked out.
Yeah.
So it's the first time I actually had a real co-owner, I would say, as Madeline, that wanted to help. You know what I mean?
So let me back up a little bit and ask you real quick. So when you moved it to Bellingham, then was it easy just to get, now that you're away from the drug scene, was it just cold turkey quit, or was it a struggle, or how did you get clean?
I don't know, like people, not to downplay anybody else's, drug addiction problem, but like everyone says it's a disease and it's this and that. And to me, it's like, it's what you evolve yourself around, or revolve yourself around. And if you're not around it, I mean, how you gonna find it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm a very like strong-willed and stubborn person, to where I knew where I messed up. I knew my failures, and I knew that I'm away from it. I don't have to impress anybody with it anymore. I don't have to do anything. And I was just like literally a fresh start that's a couple hundred miles away. You know what I mean? And that was it. And so,
nice.
There was, in the beginning, it was definitely struggles here and there, but I would say like overall, it's not even that bad. Like I don't even want to drink, don't want to do any of that stuff. Every once in a while I want to have an adult beverage as an adult, but I just know that's not really feasible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I make work my focus and my kids my focus, and that's just kind of how I
nice.
survive.
You have 2 kids?
I have 3 kids, and my girlfriend has a 4-year-old. Yeah, 4-year-old.
Nice.
So we have 4 girls total.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
busy family, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Busy house.
Yeah.
So how are things? So you and Madeline decide she's going to be a co-owner.
Yep.
And you guys go in 50-50 on this place? Or?
No, it's 80-20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we go in, and basically like the biggest thing before is like owning that Vancouver shop. Nobody really wanted to take initiative to own it. Nobody wanted to run it. Nobody wanted to do shit with that shop. And nobody wanted to do the Longview shop. So as I'm bouncing between, like I'll go to the Longview one and like, fluff it up. And then the Vancouver one sinking. I go to the Vancouver one, fluff it up, and the Longview one sinking, because nobody really gives a shit, because they're not getting anything out of this. They have a place to work. And so my biggest thing was like, if I can have somebody who loves this place and wants it, and it's part of theirs, then now we have something.
And what would you do to like fluff it up? Like what would you do to
just go in there, talk to the guys, hey, what's going on? Post stuff on social media for them, figure stuff out like that, and just like make sure everything's kind of running smooth. You know what I mean?
I follow you on Instagram. But what other platforms do you promote on? Are you still on Facebook?
Just
Instagram now.
Yep.
Okay.
I just do Instagram. I don't like Facebook's so much drama. I hate looking on there. People are like, oh, yeah, I had a coffee today, or I was in line at Walmart and this lady yelled at me. It's like, who gives a shit?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Facebook's very weird. I don't, I have one obviously, but I don't post on there really. I mean, I know we have one for the business. And when I post on IG, there's the option to also post on Facebook at the same time. So I do that. But in terms of like people's personal lives, like how many people want to like, they air out the weirdest drama on there. Always. As if it's so strange. It's such a strange personality type. I see people on there doing it. Just like their personal lives, their relationships,
family
their illnesses.
Stuff.
Or they'll be like, just got in a fight with my husband. He walked out. I think we're getting divorced. I was like, why are you putting that on Facebook? And then everyone's like, oh, honey, do you need me to come over? Yeah. Oh, sorry, sweetie. Or like, I'm here if you need me, call me. And it's like, it's a weird psychological thing, right?
I agree.
To just like, there's my life. And half the people who are on your Facebook aren't even really your real friends anyway.
No, I know.
You really have just a small circle of a few close friends that actually really give a shit. And most people are just like random acquaintances you worked with 5 years ago, or some dude you went,
exactly,
just like random people who you don't really know anything going on in their life, but they're on your Facebook, and it's a really weird thing when people do that, but
I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. So Instagram, and how often do you guys post?
The shop has a Facebook. I should say that the shop itself has a Facebook. I don't even run that. I think Kayla, Brian, and Madeline will kind of do that. I don't really. Don't deal with it.
So you don't deal with the Facebook. Do you post?
Yeah, I do the Instagram ones, stuff like that. We post on there every couple of days. The shop, when I came into the shop, I didn't want it to be like I don't even know what to call it, but just like something where you're just constantly in people's face, tattoos, and it's like people get burnt out seeing that shit. It's the same thing as like, I got in a fight with my husband. You see that every single day. Pretty soon you're just like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you see it every once in a while, you might scroll on it and read about their fight.
Yeah.
And so like I have to post interesting stuff.
You have to be careful with the spam too. Like we're very conscious of that too, even with our business,
and especially with the way they monitor it, being a business page. Like you'll see 4 people saw it, and you're like, how I have 800 followers. How did 4 people see this?
Yeah.
And then I'll post on my personal page, and I'll get all these likes. So it's
that
like
organic reach.
Yeah, and
they want you to pay for the
product. Yeah, exactly. I feel like the less you post, like if you post consistently every couple of days, like it does decent. But if it's a nonstop everyday thing, then it's just like not as like, I don't know, visible to the people. They just kind of scroll past it when they're looking. Oh, openings for tattoos today, every single day, all day long. A, you look like you're starving, and B, you're lucky if you even see it. So, but that's all we use really. What I'm doing more or less, like when I reach out to you, is networking in my community.
Yeah,
I'm not really too concerned as much as these Facebooks and this fake life on Instagram and stuff like that. I'd rather be more community based. So like going like when I get my apparel, I shop here in the community. I don't ship overseas. I don't do anything like that. Donating stuff. We did a blanket drive before for the homeless. Doing reaching out to you, just reaching out in my community and boosting our name in the community is way more personable to me than it is paying on a Facebook and trying to get our name out there.
How did you know to do that, or how did you have that idea?
I don't know. It's just like instinct, I guess.
I think about this a lot too, about the people who are successful versus ones who aren't. Like, I realize everything I'm doing, I don't really know if it's gonna work,
right?
But then I know if it doesn't work, I think I'm really creative in like then coming up with something else to try, something new. And I just had this idea a few days ago where I think that's probably the difference between people who succeed or don't, is people who don't succeed in whatever field, endeavor, business, whatever they're doing. They come up with an idea of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and here's how I'm going to do it. And then as soon as it fails, it's almost like the wheels don't keep spinning, where they're like, okay, why? And let's do this now. I feel like I can always go to, let's do plan A, B, C, D. I can just keep going and going and going and going and going. And it's like, I don't think anyone, obviously no company, corporation, business out there knows if their new innovation, product, service is going to take off.
Right.
But if it doesn't, they can then try something else. And it's just trial and error. Like, nobody who's successful actually really knows what they're doing. They're just able to then try the next thing after they fail.
And it's just whatever the community accepts.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing, is trying to figure out what the community's going to accept.
Yeah.
And we're just throwing out these ideas and like, oh, they bid on that one, so we're going to take that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the promos that we do, I'm just like, it's fun. It's fun because I'm curious what's going to hit.
Right.
Like, our biggest promo that was the most successful is we gave away, like, we did a perfume cologne giveaway where it's like, tag, it was a daily promo where it's like tag a friend, you and your friend are entered into the drawing. We're going to draw at the end of the day today. We did that, and we got like 100 followers in a week. Just that was our biggest boost. And this is when we had like 200. We had just started because we've only been open literally 3 months.
Yeah.
So we went from 200 to 300 followers in like a week. But all the other promos didn't hit that hard. But that one was like, and it's just weird what hits and what doesn't,
Yeah.
But it's kind
of fun.
Stuff.
That free stuff always gets them.
Oh, people love
we do the
free
free tattoo stuff too, like follow, tag 5 friends, and it's like it boosts us up so much.
Treat and value. People love free shit.
Right.
That's why I say, like, before you can post your 20% off coupon, you first have to provide value, because everyone intuitively knows when you run a sale, you're just asking for money. You're basically saying, come give me your money.
Yeah.
But if you give way more than you ask, then when you do ask, people are like, you know what, this is a pretty dope place. I owe, then you're way more likely to get people to actually show up and spend some money rather than, constantly coupon, sale. But if you're like, here's free shit, here's free
Yeah.
shit, people are like, dude, this is fucking great, I love
Yeah.
it. And then you're like, guys, we got a 20% off sale. Cool, yeah, because you gave like 80% and you asked 20,
Right.
you know, versus just ask all the time.
Exactly.
And that's one of the freedoms and flexibilities you have as a small business owner versus like a Target or Walmart. They don't give away shit.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, they're already established. They have the low price and people, they have the branding now, so they
Yeah.
don't need to.
Yep.
But so yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how's the new shop? How you loving it so far?
It's amazing.
Uh-huh.
It's, you know, going back to what we said, like realizing what you have. It's weird. I walk into that shop and it's a beautiful shop. It's gorgeous. You know, seeing my design come together and people come in there and everyone's asking, who designed it? Who designed it? Who designed it? And they're like, you designed all this too? And I'm like, yeah. And it's just seeing it. I guess reality hasn't sunk in. We're almost a year in and I still don't feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like how beautiful it is. But it's a gorgeous shop. I love it. The location is amazing.
Let me ask you. I mean, I already asked you before we got on air here, but how many days and hours a week are you working currently?
I work about 10 to 12 hours a day. We're doing a new addition to the shop right now. I'm adding 2 more stations, one for my apprentice and then one for a guest artist or to hire somebody else. So we had a drawing room. I tore that entire drawing room out, and I have to make that room just as elegant and nice as the outside. And so I budgeted like $2,000 for that room. Now I'm like almost probably about $5,000 in this damn room just to make it. You know, what I mean, I got the wood ceiling to the wood backdrop walls. I got Victorian style trim on the walls to a concrete other wall. All this taxidermy and oddities and just random cool shit in there just to make it match the front of the shop so people don't feel like they're getting cheated out by going to this back room there. You know, from our bathroom, our bathroom is we have black alligator skin on the walls a black toilet.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
How'd you even find that?
At a fabric store. I was like, gonna do
Wow.
something. I saw that and I was like, oh shit, I don't know how that looks. So you can't really tell because all the walls are black.
Yeah.
And then it's like a charcoaly black. So when you like look at it, you can't tell. But then you're like, oh shit, like, and you touch it.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
so yeah, you have to come check it out. My shop is not like any tattoo shop. We don't have a bunch of flash on the walls. We're more a custom shop, and yeah, it's just way different. I mean, we have more taxidermy than I probably should have. We have, you know, the greater kudu, the impalas, deers, pronghorns, and then we have skins. I have an anaconda snake heart. Just the most random, weirdest shit ever that draws people in off the street, even if they don't even want a tattoo. Then once they come in, they're like, oh shit, this is cool. And they're like, hey, can I buy a t-shirt? And they just want a t-shirt because it's Ruthless. And you know what I mean? People think that it's a cool name, so they want to support it.
What do people, so someone who's never had a tattoo before that's contemplating it, thinking about it, what would you suggest they do? Just call you up, make an appointment, or just walk right in and be like, hey, what's the best way?
The best thing I think is, like, for anybody looking to get a tattoo anywhere is research your artist. The biggest thing people do is they come in and they already know what they want and they think that any artist can do it. We all have our own individual style, whether it's traditional, neo-traditional, to black and gray, to realism. I mean, there's so many different styles. And so I'll get people come in, they're like, oh, I love your work, so I want to get this portrait of my grandma. And I'm like, you love my work? What portraits do you see on my Instagram that entail that I do portraits? You know what I mean? So go research the artists that you like, you know what I mean? So they say you want like a fine stipple shading, beautiful tattoo that's black and gray. You'd look into Madeline's work and you would see that. And then my biggest thing is, like, give your artist the freedom. Say, this is what I want, you know what I mean? These are my kids' birth flowers, and incorporate that in this tattoo and build me something beautiful, because that's how a client is going to get the best work out of that artist. When you come in and you're like, I want this flower, this flower, this flower, and I want this one here, here, and here, and I want these names in here, and I want these dates over here, it becomes a jumbled mess, and it's like you're not getting what you want. So yeah, definitely research your artist. Make sure that you trust your artist. Like when I have first time clients, I do 2-hour appointments only because I want them to know me and I want to get to know them. If our you know, personalities clash, it's like I give off a lot of energy, I get a lot of energy. So if our personalities clash, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, just let's do 2 hours at a time. Let's see how we are with each other. If you love me and I love you, let's rock and roll and do some cool tattoos. If it doesn't work, then, because I'm a very blunt person with people, like if if idea doesn't work, I'll let you know. And my biggest thing is teaching your client about stuff instead of being like, no, that's stupid. Being like, here's why it's not going to work. And we do that with a lot of, you know, our clients, and just to teach them what works, what doesn't work. And, you know, even like we'll get people come in I refer people to Josh Hathaway all the time because they want portraits and realism stuff, and he's on in my shop. You know what I mean? And like I want the clients to have the best work.
So coming in with like some idea of a design and then letting you just
yeah,
take it and
with
go from
any
there.
artist, you know what I mean? You're gonna get the best work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
cool. And now, what hours are you guys open?
we are open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay.
Ish.
And website is?
We don't have a website. We
No
have our
website?
Instagram.
Okay.
It's Ruthless_Tattoo_Co.
Okay.
Yeah, and our Facebook. Yeah, we're gonna getting a website up soon, all that fun stuff. So
Okay. And I'm sure you have other business ideas for the future. Are you always like
yeah,
scheming?
I'm opening up a second shop.
Oh, damn,
Yeah.
dude. When are you doing that?
I think I'm starting in June.
Wow.
I'll start, or I think March. I'm signing papers.
Mhm.
April, I'll start the build out. So May, June-ish, I'll probably open it up in there.
Do you want to shout out the location, or are you keeping it down secret right now?
It's in Vancouver actually.
Oh,
Back in
really?
Vancouver, yeah.
All the way back down south, huh?
Yeah, I got a couple artists down there that I'm talking to that are gonna work it. I won't really tattoo down there. I'll stay up here in Bellingham, but I'll go down there like once, twice a month.
Oh, cool.
And it's gonna be a Jericho tattoo company
Oh, nice.
because there's a plant called Rose of Jericho. I don't know if you know what it is, but it's like this little fern plant, and it's like the only thing that can survive a mass destruction.
Oh, damn.
So, world blows up, no living thing. This thing could stay dried up for years and years and years, and then with a little bit of water, it'll turn bright green and come back. They sell them down at was that Third Planet down here?
Okay, yeah, I know.
And I saw that, and I was like, that's like such a fitting name for Vancouver
Oh, that's dope.
because that's where all the fuck up was. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, so,
That's
that's kind of
cool.
a fitting name, you know what I mean?
That's cool.
So yeah, and that's actually going to be, I think, in the location where I first started tattooing in a hair salon
Comes
in
full circle now.
Vancouver. Yeah, the lady that owns it, she was like, hey, like, you want to start doing something down here? We started talking about it, and it's all just kind of falling together. And being in this mind state, it's way different. Like it's just, I built this shop out in 50-something days, and it's way more built out than my other shop. I was 4 months in that shop and couldn't even get it off the ground.
Damn.
So the biggest thing is, failure is just, it's a learning, it's a stepping stone. Everybody has failed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like looking at Walt Disney. That guy was, if you have researched Walt Disney, like that guy pretty much stole a bunch of creators and stuff like that from somewhere he got hired onto and ended up with Mickey Mouse. But that guy failed and failed and failed and failed and then got a chance, robbed those creators, and then now he's successful or was successful. You know what I mean? Everybody fails. And if you don't, and the guy that I'm having work down there too, he was on and off drugs for a long time and he failed at a lot of stuff too. And it's like, I don't want people that have never failed. I want people that have failed, that have hit rock bottom and have brought themselves back up, because those are the people that are hungry, those people that are going to strive, those people that want stuff. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's the biggest thing with me.
Yeah, no, totally. Like the people who really want it are always just going to find a way to keep going and keep doing it. That's just the way it is. You can always tell like the purebred entrepreneurs, business owner types from the people who just try once and fail, or give up after like a year or anything and just go back to doing what they were doing before. So, and
you see so much on Instagram now too. Entrepreneur. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
just.
I mean, I was part of a Facebook group for selling on Amazon. Some guy made this comment 2 weeks ago, and he's like, is this even worth getting started, or is this even worth trying? And I just made the comment, if you even have to ask, it's not for you.
Yeah, nope.
Because anybody that's a natural purebred entrepreneur, if there's even a taste or an opportunity, they're so hungry for it, they're off and running. They're not going to even question if it can work. They're just going to go and try, and so just that opportunity. So it is a personality type. It is a skill set too as well. So I do want to thank you so much for your donations for this treasure hunt, though. Welcome. That was pretty sick. Yeah. That huge donation. So yeah, we're starting that on Thursday, man. So a lot of people were excited about that tattoo.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thank you so much for donating that. We'll blast all your stuff, your IG and your store out on the podcast, which is coming out Thursday. So yeah, man, it was good meeting you. Thanks so much for coming and doing this. Thanks for that donation. Appreciate it.
Always.
Awesome.